I'm joined by Chandan Mitra, Rajya Sabha MP and member of the National Executive of the BJP, Dr. Abhishek Manu Singhvi, Rajya Sabha MP of the Congress. I'm also joined by Francesca Marino. She's a journalist and an author from Italy. Thank you both. Thank you all very much for joining us. Dr. Singhvi, let me ask you first. The argument being made by the Italian Deputy Foreign Minister is that the death penalty is something that's completely unacceptable in Italy, and therefore at any cost they had to prevent their Marines from returning to this country. Isn't it somewhat belatedly a recognition on part of Italy? Because these Marines had actually gone back to Italy earlier and come back. Earlier on they could have made that same argument and stopped their Marines from returning. Isn't it strange that they would choose to do so at this stage?
I think we must have an approach, of course, subject to contempt of court proceedings, and that is a different issue, or proceedings by the Supreme Court, even though not called contempt of some other kind. That's between the Supreme Court and them. Otherwise, we must have an approach of let bygones be bygones, in the sense that obviously we don't buy the story of the Italians, that they went thinking of this or that. Obviously, an attempt was made to take them beyond jurisdiction. But having said that, I think we must commend and applaud the fact that inter-country diplomacy has worked. Most importantly, the majesty of the apex court has worked, and they have come back with the realization that partly legal, partly the fetter on their ambassador, partly India's economic might and power, and the steadfastness of the government, I think it has all been a very good combination. So, while not accepting any explanation from the Italians, and I don't think we need to do that, most people in India understand that it could not have been for such simple reasons, but there obviously might have been an intention not to come back, reasonably inferred. But today, I think there is equally something to look at the positive side, that these things happen. After all, you must give credit that they made the effort to come back, otherwise it could have been a long, protracted process.
All right,
so
Chandan Mitra, let me just come to, I'll just come to Chandan Mitra to react to this.
And that balance is a great victory, I think, from all fronts.
Yeah, yes. Well, that's in fact my question. Do you see this, Chandan Mitra, as a victory to the government of India, to Indian diplomacy, or do you believe that this is a deal that has been worked out? There is a lot that we aren't being able to detect over here. Because the argument by the Italian Deputy Foreign Minister seems to be somewhat disingenuous. I mean, did they not know about the death penalty earlier on? Why is it that they suddenly woke up to it?
Well, Vishnu, in my opinion, this is far from a deal. It is an abject surrender. It is an abject surrender to Italian browbeating, and for some particular reason, we are always very, very soft to Italy, and I don't want to speculate on the reasons for that, but I think this is actually preposterous, that not only have we virtually guaranteed that there will be no death penalty, which the government has no authority to say. This is for the courts to decide whether a person will be given a death penalty or not. And the other thing, that they are going to stay in the Italian embassy. This is bizarre. I don't think it has ever happened that under trials for murder are allowed to move about freely, stay in their own country's embassy, and then only appear in court when they are called to give evidence. This is really, really, I think, just to
but that's been allowed by the Supreme Court, Mr. Mitra. Correct me if I'm wrong, that's the Supreme Court has allowed them not to be in police custody.
Well, yes, but you know, we gave an assurance. This is the Italian Deputy Foreign Minister whose press conference I was watching on your channel just now, is saying that this was agreed upon. So India has surrendered, India has conceded all their points through subterfuge and a whole bunch of total lies. They took away these two Marines by violating the Supreme Court's magnanimity, and now when they found that they really have no way out, they bargained hard, they got the most that they could get, and now the Congress government is taking credit. I can't believe it actually.